All right, so what we're talking about is paperless audit. We've gone over this several times, and first of all, let me start with I apologize if I haven't explained this thoroughly, but the reality is either I didn't lay this out clearly, or everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And before, whenever we had audit packs in the past, I'm sure they weren't always well organized and weren't always complete, and this, that, and the other. They sat in a storeroom and no one ever thought about them. But now that they're being reviewed and looked at by lots of people, including the accounting team, we need a level of consistency with how we build these things so that they can find things in a timely fashion and that they're complete. So I want to go over this again, and this is becoming the idea behind this was that it was a time saver, and I think it has been a time saver for many of you. And what it hasn't been a time saver for is me, because I'm having to chase this a lot, and I want to get on here and clear the air, make sure everybody has complete understanding. It's a very simple thing. I don't want us to overthink this. So I have the desktop widget here. This is everybody's folders. So I'm gonna show everybody different ways that people have done this, and that's why it's causing confusion. Let me show you specifically a hotel that's doing it as close to correctly as possible. We'll start with the residence in Holland. So let's just pick a day here. So inside, let me start here on the main page. We have a folder for every day. Some of us have decided to put like an April folder and a May folder and then kind of dump them in. We don't want to do that. Not that that's inherently wrong. It's just we want to be consistent, so we've decided to do it this way. So just like each one of these folders you see represents the old school envelope where we used to write the date on it. So that's literally what this is. So you want to have one for each day. We don't want to have a folder that dumps in a bunch of different things. We've also seen where people have decided to have one folder for this type of report, and it has all those days in it, a bunch of days for that specific type of report, and a folder for this type of report with multiple different days. We don't want to do it that way. So basically the same way we always did it before. When it was a paper envelope, we have a digital envelope. So that's what this is. Inside there, we have a report. And this is exactly, and inside here we've had everybody decide to make another set of folders, and they're calling it a variety of different things. We don't need to do that either. That's an extra step that's not required, and then it causes confusion. Just like when we did paper envelopes, you put all the pieces of paper and shoved them in that envelope. Exactly what we're doing here. We have one digital envelope, and we're putting all the pieces of paper in here. So this is an example of a Marriott. The one thing here, the only thing this is exactly the right way to do it. Calling one folios. They have their night audit checklist with the GM sign-off. The night audit sign-off here, their checklist, and then the sign-off, their out-of-order report, and then all their system reports. So the one change we had from our last call was to have a separate scan for out-of-order reports and a separate scan for the reports that we used to send to the daily at hospec.com. And the reasoning for that is originally the direction was to have them basically all rolled into this system report, but the accounting team was really slowing them down. For example, if you're reviewing 30 hotels and 15 days for each hotel, that when they review our daily reports for correctness of coding, if they were pulled up this one file that was system only, it might be 50 or 60 pages, and they would have to find the right file. Originally, they asked us to put it like on the first page of the scan. I thought it was just much easier just to say, hey, let's scan these separately so they can go, okay, when Jay or whoever happens to be doing it can quickly go to this file and download it and review it in a very quick and timely fashion. Again, the whole thing behind this was to avoid any emails from the accounting for them looking for anything. And that's anytime one less accounting email, the better off we all are. because it really takes us away from our primary job focus of taking care of the customer, the guest, and our employees. So having a separate scan here that says night audit or daily reports, and then one for out of order. Again, when Melissa's running the out of order report that goes to our corporate team, it was quite difficult for her to find it in a massive amount of reports. So having a second folder here for out of order, and I'm going to do a screenshot of this and send this out as a good example. When it comes to Hilton reports, not diametrically different, other than the way the system reports are generated. Let me show you. Let's look at Holland Doubletree. These guys had a little bit of a leg up on in the sense that they were our beta test hotels. So in here, same exact process, except these reports here are the ones that are generated out of the archives reports that system generated, never had to be printed, and it automatically creates an out of order room activity. They have gone through and scanned it here per direction, but in reality that's not necessary. It's already generating this out of order rooms report here. But then you have all your folios, the GM sign-offs. This is another perfect example of how it should look from a Hilton standpoint. And for the hotels, for the Country Inn and the Baymont, the Country Inn is doing their, I won't really go into that too much because obviously the Country Inn is kind of unique. But when we get to Hyatt Place, Lexington, who's not up on the program yet, but will be doing it very similarly to the Country Inn because they're both running the same front desk system. So that's basically all there is to it. And I could show you, I don't want to, the goal is not to embarrass you, but I could show multiple examples of how people are kind of doing it their own different way. And if you understand any way that accounting people think, that throws them into a tizzy beyond no doubt, because they are such program and organized and process-driven individuals. They need things organized in a way that they can understand them. And a lot of times our world is anything but organized, sometimes organized chaos. But when we put this up here, it's important that, number one, we're doing it on a nightly basis. I've seen a few hotels where we're days behind, which I can't imagine any reason why we'd ever be days behind, that our accounting, our auditors should be the ones doing all this work for you. The goal behind this was for you to never really have to do any really additional work other than your GM sign-off and uploading it, which is what you always did anyway. The effort was not to put additional work onto you guys. So if you're not comfortable with your night auditor doing that and you're trying to do it and you're falling behind, we need to fix that. And if you're having problems, if you want me to work one-on-one with your night auditor to explain this, I would be happy to get up in the middle of the night and do that. I get up early anyway, so I'd be happy to do that. So if you're in that sort of situation and you're not sure how to train it, or you're having trouble to get them to buy in, please use me, and I'll be happy to do a little impromptu training thing some night. We'll do a quick go-to-meeting. But I really want to get this right. Every time I try to roll out new programs, and all of them are really focused on making your jobs easier, I obviously need your help to do that. Because if we roll out programs and they go roughly, and I hear about it constantly from a variety of different people, that just kind of builds roadblocks to future innovation that I have plans for us. And I hope you find that many of these programs to be a significant time savings. I would like to thank everybody for their hard work. I haven't got any feedback from a negative standpoint regarding how with our new cash handling, cash deposit procedure that went out. That seems to be going very well. Hopefully it's working well for all the hotels that are able to use it, mostly our select service hotels, and have it traced to follow up with the accounting team to revisit that so we can move that, the amount of times we're going to the bank, down to 2 days a week or maybe even 1 day a week. And I hope to give you guys some additional time. But I really wanted to really drive home this point with our paperless audit. We had a rather heated conversation yesterday about it, and I told the leadership that we would fix this, that we in operations can make this thing happen. There's no reason that we cannot. And I know that we can. So if you have any questions, I typically, when I ask the group like this for questions, I usually get silence, but I would like, if anybody's experiencing some specific challenges or any best practices, to share them, or If you don't want to bring it up in front of the group, please email me or call me. But I know that we can do this as a group, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to bring them up. Does anybody have anything for the group?
Hey, Matt, it's Christy.
Yeah, go ahead.
My archive items are all under one folder when we move them over, so there's not a bunch of items. Is that okay since they're not really looking at those archive items? If you want to pull mine up, I can show you what I mean.
No, that's good. This is a good conversation here. Where are you at? There you are. So, and
we have our encode in front of the date. I thought that's what, but we can stop doing that if it's confusing.
I don't necessarily see that to be as if that's. I have never heard by someone complain about that yet, but probably will. Let's just do it. Just put the date.
Okay, no problem.
So here,
yeah,
like in this.
Yeah.
What they can do is, I mean,
because it automatically generates into a file for us.
And how everyone does it, all they have to do is just open that file and just, for example, I'll show you. For example, here. Say, hello. Anybody have a question there?
Sounds like a child.
Anyway, so for example, they would open. It looks just like this. It's this folder here, and they open up. It has all the files.
Right.
In lieu of just dragging that whole folder over, Christy, have them double click on the folder, and then they can just hit Control A, or you could, you can go up here, any way you can hit here and hold down Shift and select, and then just merely drag them over this way.
Right.
In lieu of just dragging the whole folder over.
Okay, I just thought it would keep things a little cleaner to do it that way, but if accounting wants it,
well, I mean, the thing about it is and the reasoning, what your logic isn't wrong, but the challenge is with Marriott World, it doesn't have that folder that they're able to drag over. So for a sense of consistency, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no problem. I just want to clarify because I had been doing it this way from the beginning. So.
Yeah, no. Anybody else have anything for the group? That was a really good question. But we really want to make this whole thing work because I think it. Not having to send reports, and doing all that stuff is a huge time saver. So,
hey, Matt.
Yes.
Hey, could you talk a little bit about? I think just looking at a couple of hotels as well, like the archive report. I know that you helped set it up as the DoubleTree, so you know how to pull out the archive reports and what reports should be archived. I think that some people have less reports in that list that will be archived versus other people have more reports, and just making sure that we have the right reports in the archive.
Well, I mean, it's my understanding, and that's a really good question. I talked to support when we were doing the beta testing, and they told me that the reports that are archived are the same reports that are generated during the night audit. If you're experiencing where you have reports that are not being generated, you can have them added to the archive by calling support, help. I think it's merely a setting.
Oh, yep, it is. Yeah, I know it's under the reports and then report archive, and you can actually just add the report there. So I just
add that report. So if you feel like you're not getting the right reports archived, it's a very simple fix to do.
Hey,
well, what about a list of the reports so we can? Hello. What about a list of the correct reports? I just saw the DoubleTrees, and it looks like they have way less reports. Right.
But the gist of it is, though, what you could do, what I would recommend you do, because it's difficult to put together a list because every brand, even inside the same family of hotels, does not have the same reporting. Many times everybody makes the assumption that on-queue is on-queue. On-queue is not on-queue. In the sense that it's tweaked a little bit the full service model. It's tweaked a little bit for the select service model. It's tweaked differently at the extended stay model. So, I mean, they built that system to be everything to everybody. It works at the 63-room Home 2, and it'll work at the 1,500-room Hilton Anaheim. So it's really designed to be everything to everybody. So my best recommendation was if you could even go back to an old audit pack and look at the reports that are being generated, and then if they're not in the archives, add them to the archives, because it would be nearly impossible for me to give you a comprehensive list depending on the brand.
Gotcha.
I apologize. I wish I had a magic list, but I don't.
No, it's all right. I just wanted to know if there was one out there that we could utilize. If there's not, then I understand. Yeah?
There is. There really isn't. With Marriott, because the technology is quite a bit older, it's a little bit more consistent, and the auto reports are the auto reports, where the beauty of OnQ is that it's flexibility, but also the negative is that it's flexible and it's different hotel to hotel.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Can you open up Rachel's folder again so we can see what 5 scans she had again?
I was going to do a screenshot and send it out after the call.
Okay, perfect.
Is that helpful? I'll do that for both examples I used.
Yeah.
And that way you can just literally hand this to your auditor and go do this kind of thing. Would that be helpful?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody? I apologize. I feel like I'm being a bit of a prick about this, but I'm tired of hearing from them, and I just wanted this to go well. And I know you guys. I know we can do it. And I put this a lot on me because I don't think I maybe made it as clear as I should have. I don't have anything else. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did record this, and I will be forwarding that out, link on YouTube.